In the headlines, the Ministry of Education takes action to address drug abuse within the school population. Caribbean government encouraged to consider investing in their own regional airlines, and farmers and hucksters called upon to prepare to capitalize on the U.S. market. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. I'll be back with the details right after this. We begin with the 2017 graduating class of the Dominica Grammar School, who have been advised to make good choices as they head out into the world of work and higher education. The words of advice came from Minister for Education Peter Saint-Jean when he addressed the graduation ceremony on Monday.
Whatever choice that you make, I want to call on you to make that choice to enrich your life. Make that choice to ensure that you carve for yourself a future that is bright and filled with hope. Your decisions and your commitment to your own development is paramount. And irrespective of your social circumstances, the choices that you will make ultimately determine how successful or how unsuccessful you will be in achieving the goals that you have set for yourself.
Meantime, feature speaker Deacon Alvin Knight urged students to be wise in their decision-making as it will open opportunities for them.
Now, as a deacon, you expect me most likely to say something about God. What I say in this regard is, always make the wise choice to honor God. Give Him thanks in everything, the small as well as the big. Sometimes, you see, we spend our lives looking at the closed window, or rather the closed door, not realizing most times that there is a window that we have opened, a window of opportunity. Or if we're looking at the closed door, not understanding that there is a door that we have opened for us. But because our eyes is so fixed on what is closed, we cannot see to make the wise choice, to take the wise decision.
75 students graduated on Monday, with Sheldon Piper being named Student of the Year, Jujuana Baptist being awarded Salutatorian, and Caleb Tuse the Valedictorian. The 2017 graduation was held under the theme, "You are not a product of your circumstances, you are a product of your decisions." Still in education, where proactive steps continue to be taken to combat high levels of drug abuse among the school population. Speaking at a recent ceremony of the Ask, Listen, Learn program, HFLE coordinator Raina John Charles said statistics revealed by the Drug Abuse Prevention Unit are cause for concern for the ministry.
We know that the Drug Abuse Prevention Unit has in the past raised concerns about the high level of abuse of alcohol among secondary school children on island, and that based on their survey findings, alcohol is the most used drug by secondary school students. Their report is also suggesting that some children start drinking as early as age 12 years old, and that there is a strong concern for students between ages 12 to 18 years old.
The HFLE coordinator says the public's perception of alcohol as a drug needs to be transformed in order to bring about an effective change among the school children.
And we still have a long way to go in terms of changing the public's perception about alcohol, which is not necessarily seen as a drug by many people and is not equated to drugs like marijuana and cocaine, for example. Our perception and practices as a society has a lot to do with the availability and access to alcohol by our children. With that said, it is imperative that we not only utilize our HFLE curriculum to teach children about the dangers of alcohol and other drug abuse as early as possible, but to take advantage of programs like the Ask, Listen, and Learn to drive the message home further.
The Ask, Listen, Learn program is a project which seeks to teach primary school children aged 8 to 11 the dangers of underage drinking and to help them make prudent lifestyle choices. The program was piloted in Dominica in 2015 and targeted 4 primary schools. The second time the program was held here, 5 primary schools benefited. The former chairman of the Air Jamaica Divestment Project Committee, Dennis Chung, has advised regional governments to invest in their regional airlines. Chung was responding to a question by Channel 5 News on his last visit here about whether he had any answers on the future of regional air travel. Chung was in charge of the process to transfer the management of Air Jamaica to Caribbean Airlines in 2010.
What I think that the governments of the region need to do is put some money behind supporting regional airlines. We have LIAT and we have Caribbean Airlines. Maybe what needs to happen is that the governments need to put some funding behind building up these airlines and improving the intra-regional travel, because one of the challenges that the region has is that it's very difficult to move between the region. Unless you have movement of goods and people being easy and affordable, then you're going to limit your economic activity within the region.
On the call by acting CEO of LIAT, Julie Reefer-Jones, for more governments to come on board as shareholders, Chung noted that LIAT's management should also throw a good sales pitch to regional governments.
I think it is a good move to get there, but LIAT also needs to create the value proposition for the governments. LIAT can't sit back and say, well, you need to come and invest. What is the value proposition that they're going to create for the government? So if I was in LIAT's position, I would be creating some form of proposition to the governments and say, listen, if you invest X dollars, you will get X plus Y in value, and show them how they'll get that value and make that commitment. You know, so it's both ways. It's not just sitting back and saying, hey, I'm here, give me the money. You know, but what are you going to do for the governments when you do that?
More top stories. Australian High Commissioner to Dominica, John Pilbeam, has commended Dominica's resilience as he acknowledges the country's vulnerability to natural disasters. Pilbeam, who is based in Trinidad, serves as High Commissioner to 13 other CARICOM states, including Dominica. He is accompanying Australia's Ambassador for Women and Girls on a mission around the region.
It's really great to meet so many inspiring people and to see the problems they face and the way they're trying to get on top of them. This is always a very positive place to visit, Dominica, because life's tough here, but people manage to overcome it. There's a great sort of force of character in Dominica. I wanted to show her the effects of vulnerability of small island developing states, especially to climate change, if you like. And of course, Dominica has suffered in that way, including at Petty Savan. But you're still here, and you've worked on it.
Pilbeam describes Dominica's situation as more serious than its other CARICOM neighbors.
I think the challenges facing Dominica are stronger than the challenges facing most of the other islands in the Caribbean. You seem to be right in the middle of natural disasters of one kind or another. If a hurricane comes to the Caribbean, it seems to come to Dominica. If because it's such a young island, you have landslips all the time. There are so many challenges to the human spirit in Dominica, but you work on them. You work really hard. I mean, you export food to the other islands. You haven't lost that ability to bring things from the soil. That's still important, or from the sea. You've got a big, fishing industry. You sell to Antigua, you sell to St. Kitts, places like that, because you're still working on the land.
Pilbeam noted that Dominica continues to benefit from Australia's Direct Assistance Program with a focus on helping the Netball Association resuscitate the sport. While here, the Australian team paid a courtesy call on Acting Prime Minister Dr. Colin McIntyre. They left the island on Tuesday for Jamaica. You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, what you can do to make sure you are not among those spreading the red eye. Thanks for staying with us. Trade Director Martin Walters has advised farmers and hucksters to get their act together to capitalize on the lucrative U.S. market. Walter, quoting statistics, noted that the United States imports of fresh fruits and vegetables have doubled when compared to 5 years ago.
In 2012, 5 years ago, the U.S. imported 9,911,962 tons of fresh produce. Let's now fast forward to 2016. And I want us to note that the U.S. imports of fresh fruits and vegetables grew to double digits rates. Fruits grew by 10% to U.S. $12.4 billion. And vegetables rose by 14% to U.S. $8 billion.
The top fresh produce of 2016 was bananas at a value of US $2.67 billion. While Walter has appealed for farmers and hucksters to position themselves to embrace the opportunities, he acknowledged the non-adherence to standards is a concern.
We have a critical problem on island. We feel that when we are asked to make efforts to meet regional and international standards, that the government entities requesting this from us are putting unnecessary pressures on us. On the farmers and the hucksters, or trying to create hardships in your business. That is the way that these things are being interpreted on the ground. I want to tell you today that we live in a new dispensation. And if standards, and by that I mean quality standards, are not met, and regulations put in place by our trading partners are not adhered to, these opportunities which I just spoke to will be but a distant and non-accessible opportunity.
Walters said farmers and producers should complement the efforts of government who has put all infrastructures in place for them.
The Fresh Produce Act has been passed and is being enforced. The pack houses in Roseau and Portsmouth are established. Farm certification programs are in place. And I am personally aware of the hard work being done by the Dominica Bureau of Standards to ensure that we meet those standards. We need to change our mindsets. We need to elevate our consciousness and work with the government to enter those markets and to engage frontally the opportunities that are present therein.
Next up, Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru is urging the Dominican public to play their part in reducing the spread of the viral conjunctivitis, also known as red eye. On 31st May, the Ministry of Health informed the country that there had been an outbreak of red eye in the Marigot, Portsmouth, and Roseau Health districts. However, a week later, acting national epidemiologist Dr. Shaluddin Ahmed confirmed that there had also been reported cases in the Casa Bruce, St. Joseph, and Grand Bay health districts. Speaking to media recently, Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru asked that the public be vigilant to prevent further spread of the disease.
Of course, as the Minister of Health was asking, of course, that people, of course, first and foremost take care of themselves. We're also asking people who suffer from this red eyes conjunctivitis, viral one, that they at least stay home, okay, stay away from the workplace, stay away from school, parents who notice anything, keep their kids away from school, because we know that it's highly contagious. This thing spread quickly, as you know, especially if we don't take, especially those suffering from it, they don't take the proper hygienic measures, etc. But let's ask everybody to be careful. As I said, those suffering from it, please stay away from family members and, of course, the general public, and others, take all precautionary measures to protect yourself. Yeah.
Red eye is an infection of the covering of the surface of the eye and eyelids. This infection is very contagious, but it can be effectively treated at home. The Ministry of Health has promised the media to release updated information on the red eye situation in the near future. In other news, educators here are hoping that an effort by the OECS to help strengthen the reading skills of children from pre-K to grade 3 will make a difference. Proprietor of Spices Early Learning Center, Constance Norris, represented the Dominica Association of Teachers at a meeting in St. Lucia last week for union leaders and the Ministry of Education officials to develop the program, The Lead in Early Education.
They found that the children, when they get to a higher stage in education, some of them are not able to read, some of them are not able to comprehend.
Spices was one of the preschools here which put on activities in observance of OECS Day last week. President of the Dominica Association of Teachers has commended Spices for the efforts, but says there is another important day which we must be more aware of.
We at the community high school were the first to celebrate OECS in Dominica, and we brought it on to the Dominica Association of Teachers, and we're happy that the proprietor and the staff of Spices, they have decided to continue. One of the other observations I would like to see is CARICOM Day. It happens to be on the 4th of July, but something will have to be done for our people to know that the 4th of July is CARICOM Day, and on the 16th we observed the OECS Day. It is the 10th year that we are having an official recognition of OECS in Dominica, and we would hope it would continue.
And the Minister for Health says with the rise in the cost of Western medicine over the years, there's been a corresponding increase in the number of people turning to alternative medicine. Honorable Kenneth Daru was delivering remarks at the activity at State College on Saturday in observance of International Yoga Day. Dr. Daru noted that while the jury was still out on the effectiveness of alternative medicine, the benefits of exercise cannot be denied.
I felt it's so important to be part of this. And again, as you rightly said, I think it's about 2 years now, since 2015, that the United Nations declared June 21st International Yoga Day. And from my little research, I think they did it to coincide with the world's longest day, which is June 21st. And I think this also has an importance in the whole origin and practice of yoga. And from what I researched, I think this was also spearheaded by the Indian government, who put forward the resolution, and it was unanimously. In fact, from my research also, I found out that this was the resolution that was unanimously only time. 177 nations agreed that they should have an International Yoga Day.
The health minister is hoping the observance of International Yoga Day will be much more than just a flash in the pan.
I'm hoping that coming out of this, as I said, that you could have something substantial, something long-lasting, and not just happen once every year.
The minister commended Dr. Lucia John and her team, including the members of the Indian community, for their efforts. That's news, your sports highlights. Next. We begin with football, where FIFA course instructor Kelisha Antoine reiterated the call for local football referees to perform above the minimum requirement of fitness as they go through a 5-day course which began on Monday. She says they must write their own story in that regard.
Not depending on the MA to get you fit, but doing your own work apart from what is being done 2 days of the week here with your instructors. Dedication and determination. Writing your own story. You know that you want in a few years' time, especially the younger ones, to be on the FIFA list and maybe in the long term being a World Cup referee. Then it's not just 2 days a week, but it is 7 days a week of training hard. And when the obstacles come into your way, just pushing them aside and continue going.
Meantime, course instructor Peter Pendergrass encouraged referees to train themselves for the highest level of their jobs so that when opportunity knocks, they are prepared.
There's lots of money in refereeing. Yes, press, lots of money. Tell the people outside, become a referee. Plenty of money in refereeing. Not here in Dominica, not in your country. Use Dominica as the place to harness and hone your talent, to prepare for the big picture outside. In the early stages of World Cup qualifying. Takes 4 days. The travel day, the day before the game, the match day, and you return the following day. The referee for that game who travels for 4 days, business class, 5-star hotel, free food, yes, all of that, they get $500 a day. That's $2,000 for 4 days. So multiply that and divide that and see how many games you would have had to do in your own country, here in Dominica, to make that for 4 days.
Next up, President of Dominica Netball Association, Regina Walsh, says Dominica's collaboration with Australia could be the catalyst for positive change in netball here. Her comments came at a meeting with the Australian ambassador for women and girls at Windsor Park on Monday.
Your visit to Dominica is happening at a time where, as an association, we have recommitted ourselves to develop the sport on the island, both in terms of administration, participation, and quality of play. Our expectation, Madam Ambassador, is to see the completion of the multi-purpose indoor sports facility, where we'll be in a better position to properly train our players, coaches, and umpires. This will enable us to be strategically positioned to host local, regional, and international championships.
Meantime, President of Dominica Olympic Committee, Billy Doctrove, commended the local Netball Association for its efforts in revamping the sport.
Dominica's high standard of netball used to be a talked about feature in our country's sports when we were rated in the top 5 teams in the region. But that is in the distant memories, as they say, many moons ago. But over recent times, we have seen a steady decline in our fortunes, and I applaud the efforts of this new Netball Association executive for attempting to rekindle those long dormant flames.
The association received some netball gear to assist with training here. Meantime, there were wins for the Casa Bruce, St. John's, Savon Pie, Clifton combined, Coolibistry and Wesley Primary Schools in the Primary Schools Netball Festival on Monday. In the Division 1, Casa Bruce defeated Salisbury 24-1. For Casa Bruce, Donna Greenaway 18 from 36 attempts and Jen Victor 6 from 10. In another match, Tetmon lost to St. John's 11-3. St. John's Marisa Andrew netted 7 from 14 and Zana Joseph 4 out of 5. Meantime, in the second division, Savon Pie Clifton combined beat Calibishi 26-9. In the second match, Coolibistry secured their spot in the semifinals and edged out Penville 10-9. Wesley defeated Roosevelt Douglas Primary School in the Division 1 matchup at Wesley 10-8. In track and field, national thrower Dylan Simon says his eyes are set on qualifying for Commonwealth Games in 2018 following his participation in the Mexican National Track and Field Championships recently. Simon got gold in the shot put event with a throw of 18.67 meters and bronze in discus with 52.50 meters.
You know, it's good to achieve first place in any major competition. I wasn't really happy with the distances for both the shot put and the discus, because I also got third in the discus. I mean, training before that, I mean, it was going all right, but I had some limitations as to how, you know, efficient I could have trained, since I had very little funding to try to facilitate my training. So that was difficult, but because of that, I mean, the distances I achieved, I'm kind of happy with that based on the training I've had this season, and the main thing was to try to qualify for the Commonwealth Games, which is next year in April. And hopefully I could do my best and try to break the national record at the Commonwealth Games next year.
That's all the sports for now. Join us next time. Coming up, the weather report.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rocker. Well, today, weak and stable conditions associated with Tropical Storm Brett resulted in cloudy to overcast skies across Dominica and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean today. Earlier, infrared satellite imagery showed multi-layered clouds and areas of deep convection associated with the remnants of a Tropical Storm Brett. Remnants because as of 5 p.m., it was downgraded to a tropical wave. Let's move on now to some earlier visible satellite imagery, and what we see is this broad area of cloudiness and embedded thunderstorms in the Caribbean Sea, and of course that is associated with the remnants of a Tropical Storm Brett. Earlier radar imagery indicated a shower activity associated with the remnants of a Tropical Storm Brett. What weather can we expect tonight? Well, the cloudiness will continue tonight with showers and gusty winds. The winds are expected to peak up to 35 kilometers per hour, and tomorrow a different scenario is expected. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies expected with showers mainly during the morning period. Once more breezy conditions are expected, and maximum temperatures will peak up to 32 degrees Celsius. The marine conditions tomorrow, well, an improvement is expected. Sea conditions will be moderate. Waves will peak up to 8 feet. However, small craft operators and sea bathers, you are still advised to exercise caution. Let's take a look now at the weather for the next 3 days. Tomorrow, Wednesday, as I said, partly cloudy to cloudy with showers mainly during the morning period, and breezy conditions will also be evident. And on Thursday, it will start off as fair. However, by afternoon, an increase in cloudiness and shower activity is expected as a trough and a weak tropical wave will be approaching the area. And on Friday, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers can be expected. Let's move on now to the Caribbean forecast. Well, the northern portion of the islands can expect tomorrow partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers, whereas the southern portion of the islands can anticipate generally cloudy skies with some showers. Let's move on now to the international city forecast. Partly cloudy skies expected for New York and London, thunderstorm activity for Miami and Beijing, and cloudy skies with some showers expected for the city of Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:35 a.m. and will set at 6:39 p.m. For more information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you for viewing.
To end the news, the headlines again. The Ministry of Education takes action to address drug abuse within the school population. Caribbean government encouraged to consider investing in their own regional airlines, and farmers and hucksters called upon to prepare to capitalize on the U.S. market. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews20thJune2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, we thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.